So there are ways to do it in Canada. We don't necessarily have to be Dubai. And I would say that purpose-built rental shows us that we attack the tax side and create these financing vehicles. We can get stuff built.
This episode of the Under the Table podcast is brought to you by Shrubs.me.
They say AI is taking everyone's jobs, and honestly, no one knows whose is safe. But here's the thing. When you own your audience, your content, and your brand, you don't wait for someone else to save you. You build your own future. Shrubs puts everything you create in one beautiful hub. More reach, more fans, more income. Shrubs.me. Your future, your rules. And when you get there, I'll be right there with you, helping you thrive and grow.
Over governance, over taxation, right? Lack of financial tools. Like they talked about that for some of the mining, right? So some of our mining, like our biggest, most precious natural resources, right? We can't get funding in order to be able to build these massive plants in order to be able to extract these minerals out of the ground. And so it's like financing is actually is a huge issue. Like I'm sure we've got a way to put on a show and make all the housing we need and all. It's just we're not Dubai. And when you go and look at what they do, like when we're talking about land and restrictions, did you see what they did in the middle of the desert?
Right.
What do they have? No taxes, no government interference, unlimited financing.
No, they do have government interference and government financing. That's what allows it to happen. The prince goes, boom, I want the Burj Khalifa right there. Make it happen. Let's go.
And
Right?
all of a
Says,
sudden
boom.
it makes sense. It gets built and everybody's happy and they look at it afterwards and they go, wow, that's great. I saw something in Vegas the other day that was built that was $4 billion. Nobody's even walking in it right now. You know, like they've got this ability to be able to do stuff that Canadians, and not just in Toronto and not just the major cities, but really coast to coast, aren't able to coordinate in order to be able to have us as citizens benefit from. I think that's something.
Well, I will give Canada a positive, a positive example of where we were able to do that. And over the last 10 years, you look at purpose-built rental housing starts. I mean, it's been exponential growth. Now, again, I would argue that, because of other restrictions. Well, I mean, it was low. It wasn't quite zero. In the 1990s it was, but over the last 10 years, it's gone up about 4x. Again, the unit types, we've had some issues because of other regulations, but you look at this exponential growth. And a lot of that, was because we dealt with some of the taxes and financing issues. On the tax side, eliminate the GST on purpose-built rental, introduce an accelerated capital cost allowance provision to help you kind of depreciate some of these building and ownership costs on your taxes. So, we kind of address the tax side. Not all of it, obviously not a lot on the development charge side, but at least attack some of that on the tax side. And then the financing.
Deferred development charges. Deferred. Help.
Yeah, so there are some places that have deferred them. So there have been places that have found ways to lighten the load on development charges. And then on the financing side, it's been CMHC's ACLP program, which has been a massive success. It, again, hasn't perfect, and I know developers will grumble that they keep changing the criteria, and there's challenges on when they tell you when you find out what your interest rate's going to be, your ability to lock in. So it's not a perfect program. There are challenges, but what the federal government did was kind of come to the table and say, hey, we will provide this financing. And we have to note that it's essentially no cost to government, right? Because they are lending at rates that are higher than what they pay on their debt. So basically what it's done is allow developers to borrow at something that's not government bond rates, but it's closer to government bond rates, and access this financing. So there are ways to do it in Canada. We don't necessarily have to be Dubai. And I would say that purpose-built rental shows us that we attack the tax side and create these financing vehicles, we can get stuff built. Now, let's attack, the building code, the zoning, and all these other issues so we can get some really nice buildings. But it's at least a start and at least a success story we can point to.
I don't think it's sustainable though, based on what I know right now, right? Based on the rent that they're collecting in this market, the cost of construction that they've been paying over the last few years, the cost of the land that they've had to pay. So I'd be surprised how many of those institutional owners and buyers will continue to build
Mm.
under the current like situation that we've got right now.